What's a company secret you can share, because you don't work there anymore?
At a major insurance company I wrote software for was very big on security. If we needed to make an update, we weren't allowed to remote into the server, even though you physically could, it was just against policy. To make an update, you had to put your changes onto portable storage, show your ID to the security guy, use your key to open the door, get escorted to the server, then they'd observe you via cameras. The login? Admin. The password? Blank. Literally no password.
Wait, and then you plugged your portable storage into the server? Wow, talk about virus central.
It was my first job in the field, and even as ignorant as I knew it was comically bad.
I worked for an IT company that provided contractors to large corporations. Upper management would use someone with Exchange server access to read emails sent to client company executives from competitors and adjust bids accordingly to ensure they maintained their contracts.
We used to throw any donuts, bagels, or muffins out at the end of every night at Dunkin'. One week around Christmas time we would donate the food, but other than that it was all waste, and if we took any home ourselves we would get charged for it.
A few years ago, David's Bridal announced that regular and plus-sized wedding gowns would be the same price, like, a size 24 wouldn't be $150 more than its size 4 counterpart. They did this by marking up the regular sizes to match the plus-sized prices.
That's funny. I worked at the Limited for a very short time, years and years ago. But they had this basic blouse they sold every day for like $19.99. At Christmas time they put a big sign on them that said, special price $25.99. And I guess technically it was a special price.
2/3 tablespoon salt, 3 tablespoons white pepper, 1/2 tablespoon thyme, 1/2 tablespoon basil, 1/3 tablespoon oregano, 1 tablespoon celery salt, 2 tablespoons garlic salt, 1 tablespoon black pepper, 1 tablespoon dry mustard, 4 tablespoons paprika, 1 tablespoon ground ginger.
Worked at a deli. The decaf coffee was just regular coffee in a pot with an orange top.
Now this one is really effed up.
Pawn shop. If you pawn or sell your laptop, phone or camera, delete nudes or personal pictures. I had a boss that would go through each device. This idiot would go through and try to show me pics like I gave AF. And he legally could because the customer signs a waiver. Delete your poo peeps.
Just deleting is not enough, folks. You need to do a secure erase of the hard drive. This means overwriting the entire hard drive with new random data. Deleting a file under normal conditions just means deleting a reference to it in the file system, but the data is actually there still as zeros and ones until overwritten by another file. Photo, file recovery software looks for this data on free space on the hard drive and can bring it back.
There's a ton of employee theft that occurs at certain furniture outlets. Employee wants a new couch? Then just type up an invoice saying this $3,000 sofa was damaged while being moved around the showroom and it was then discounted and sold for $299. Got a sectional that was delivered but doesn't show up on your inventory sheet? Just take it home and post it on Facebook Marketplace. One guy was even so brazen that he would sell something, then fudge the numbers to make it look like it was sold at a lower price and pocket the difference. For instance, a sofa is listed at $1,000 but it's been sitting for a while, so he has some leeway to offer a discount. Well, here comes a customer and buys the sofa for $1,000. The salesman reports that the customer negotiated the price down to $800 and he pockets the extra $200. That particular guy got so confident that he could get away with anything, that he even started taking cuts of sales that were made with credit debit cards. Someone comes in and buys a sofa for $1,000 on a credit card. He then writes that the customer came back the same day and complained about a rip in one of the cushions, so he issued a $150 cash refund to please the customer. That dude stole into the $10,000s of dollars and got away with it for years. When the regional management finally figured it out, they just fired the guy and kept the whole incident quiet.
I worked at an IT department where the guy who regularly volunteered to clear out old office would sell literally everything he could off his own back. The guy was making bank thinking nobody noticed thousands of pounds of kit not been returned or marked off as disposed. He only got caught when he sold a PC with some official documents on, and a good Samaritan tried to return them. Same guy also refused to believe he had to drop the clutch in company cars to change gears and wrecked 4 vehicles in the space of a year. There's some special people out there.
Not sure if this is a secret, but worked in payments industry for one of the major firms, and the tech is absolute dog poo. Banks and payment firms have some of the oldest, most broken tech around.
I worked in IT for a bank and confirm this. They just build an interop layer for the new tech to talk to the old. Their whole architecture is like an onion, layer upon layer of systems.
I worked at a dodgy UK firm for elderly and disabled people back in the mid-2000s. Their racket was selling stair lifts and mobility scooters to old people. They would install a stair lift for £3,000 to £5,000. Then keep tabs on the customer with courtesy calls until the old person passes. Offer to remove and resell the stairlift for the bereaved family. Sell the stairlift on to the next old person at full price. 90% of the time the stairlift sale would get lost in the admin of dealing with the death, house sale, funeral and all the other goings-on after a loved one passes. The family would just forget. If the family did call us, we were instructed to tell them we still had it in stock but it hadn't sold. Even if they really pressed us for the stairlift, we had a pile of old broken ones in the mill building attic. But who has space to store a 15 inches pile of railing and chair? I left the company when they tried making me force sales on confused old people.
So worked for ESPN for years. They used to charge people to be an insider, which gave you fantasy advice if you sent an email. Those experts were myself and other randoms here in Omaha, NE in a call center. No training, just our opinions, LMAO.
Always thought be a fantasy football guru would be the best job ever. You're paid money to come up with projections that are largely either common sense or impossible to foresee, and nothing you do matters because it's fantasy football.
The Dollar General I used to work at kept the key to the store under the rug in front of the front doors.
I used to remodel Pizza Huts, Arby's, Wendy's, and KFC stores. Arby's kitchens were the cleanest I've ever seen anywhere. KFC had grease residue, but still clean. Wendy's wasn't bad, just not as thorough. The first Pizza Hut had me swear 'em off for life, and continued to gusset that opinion for the next 20+ stores. I've not eaten Pizza Hut in 25 years. My kids have never eaten Pizza Hut.
I worked at Pizza Hut for a month, roaches everywhere. Even in the toppings bar.
We found dead mice in and under the make tables, and food that had to be at least months old. Mice were living in the bottom of the buffet bar. Mouse poo everywhere, roaches, and a plethora of other filthy things.
I have worked for a recycler and know others who work in waste management. Most of your recycling is sent to the dump. A lot of people mix trash and plastic bags in with their recycling, and now that most places mix all recycling into one bin, it makes it worse. Once a batch of recycling is considered contaminated, the whole thing is sent to the dump. Plastic isn't nearly as recyclable as the bottle says it is. Metal is the only thing that can be recycled efficiently and cost-effectively.
Care companies make a fortune by running short-staffed. This was happening pre-pandemic too, to the point where it's part of the business model. A care home funded to have, say, 10 staff on shift per day manages to keep everybody clean, fed and watered on just 6. You think they refund the council for all those extra hours? Nah, straight into the profit column.
Pharmacy and large hospitals run the same way. That's why they look stressed all the time. They are.
At Victoria's Secret, I would measure the girls' women's bra size. We only sell up to 3/8 DDD in store. I was told by my managers that if someone measured over a 3/8 DDD, to just lie and say a close size. Usually if they were a 40 or 42, we could recommend online shopping, but for people who were 44, 46, 48, we always had to say 38 band size anyway, and get them a bra, and convince them to not try it on in store. That way we made a sale. Returns didn't affect the numbers apparently. I always was honest to the customer about their size, and because of that a lot of women walked out because we didn't carry their size, but my managers were very number and sale heavy that they would sometimes come over and lie about the women's size if they saw me measuring wrong. There's a lot more about Victoria's Secret where this came from.
The last time I got sized, it was at Victoria's Secret. The lady told me that they didn't carry my size, but she almost whispered it. I didn't think anything of it until reading this. While it's a complete long shot she'll ever see this or even know it's me, and it's way too late now, but thank you honest and kind stranger for being real with me. I didn't know the pressure you were under.
The security company that I used to work for, their logo is a yellow horse and the name rhymes with Saladin. They've been the target of numerous lawsuits from former employees because of working conditions, abusive behavior from management, and forcing employees to work way beyond the end of their shifts. They tried to reprimand me for going to a job interview with another company. The lady that used to run the Halifax office slept around with a number of employees. This was confirmed by a few people including a supervisor and CSM that left. They forced a guard to work an overtime shift whilst he was suffering from a ruptured testicle after being kicked by an irate hospital patient. They also tried to force another employee to work while she was suffering a gallbladder attack. They only relented when a police officer who was on site reminded him that it was illegal for them to force someone to work while they were ill. Edit. Company is Paladin Security. They are assholes.
I worked at a large, organic food, grocery store. Most of our produce wasn't organic. Amish people would buy produce, slap a certified organic sticker on them, and sell them to us. We knew it, but it didn't stop us because it meant much higher profits. I went to that grocery store's top, organic food, rival for a job interview. I was offered the job, but I opted to not take it because the drive was too far and the pay wasn't much more. However, when they gave me a tour, the same Amish produce seller was there. I asked the store manager, "Is all of your produce organic?" She smiled and said, "All of our produce is labeled organic, so what do you think?" I said, "I think I recognize those Amish people from my previous job." And she laughed about that for about 10 minutes. Organic food is such a sham.
I used to work for a credit card company, and on their application's website, there was a checkbox for priority processing. This cost £10 and ensured that you jumped the queue when applications were processed. In reality, there wasn't any such queue jumping facility. Everyone who paid extra for priority processing was automatically declined as they were deemed too desperate for credit.
I mean, if you're automatically denied, aren't you technically jumping the queue?
Camera shop I worked in as a kid. Owner used to make an extra print of the nudes and kept them in a photo album he hid in the back of the shop. Thought it was funny as a 15-year-old. Seems pretty F-ed now.
I worked at Kmart in high school and was shocked at how many women had no issue bringing in rolls of nude photos to be developed.
When we put you on hold without music, we can hear you.
In many of those website help chat apps, the agent can see what you're typing before you hit send.
Used to work for Walmart. Horrible start already, I know. They purposely under-scheduled your hours, so you wouldn't qualify for full-time benefits. Let me explain. I was hired on as a full-timer. I found out the company offers different levels of benefits, including health insurance if you're full-time, compared to part-time. I don't remember the specifics, but part-timers got limited dental and vision only included partial purchase of frames. Full-timers got full dental and everything was included in your vision plan, the doctor visit, the prescription, full frame purchase, etc. Well, in order to be considered full-time you need to work more than 33 hours consistently for 3 months. If you're anything less than 33 hours, you're considered part-time. My schedule was always 33 hours or more for exactly 2 months and 3 weeks. My very last work week of the 3-month time period would be 32.5 hours exactly, and each and every 3 months this would happen. I had asked my manager why this kept happening, and she lied to my face, every time. Different excuses each time too. Saying the store manager didn't allow overtime. Or how the company didn't have any extra hours to give. Or say the store manager didn't project for any additional hours for our department. But the biggest one is that we'd get in trouble if we worked even 1 minute over. We had to constantly check our hours, and if we stayed late one day, they'd force us to leave early on that last week, but usually they'd force us to take longer lunches. Essentially screwing the other people in our department. Oh, and the biggest issue was, let's say you finally work for 3 months straight at 33 hours or over, and quality for full-time benefits. If on your next 3-month cycle you worked even 1 week at 32 hours, you'd go back to part-time benefits. You'd lose your full-time benefit status really quickly. This happened to many other co-workers I knew.
Most clothes that get donated to Goodwill get thrown out. At a normal store they go through donations, and if it isn't good enough, stains or tears on clothes, electronics that don't work, etc. Or if it's been in the store for a month it gets sent to a Goodwill outlet store. Those are cheaper, but a lot of things still don't get bought there. If they're at the outlet store for long enough they're just thrown out. You wouldn't think it would be that many clothes, but in the few months I worked there about half our donations got sent to the outlet stores and most of the stuff there gets thrown out eventually. Also, please don't donate your cum socks to Goodwill.
The senior partner at a regional office of a law firm insisted on opening all incoming office correspondence so he could add charges to the client's files for himself. He'd charge out $1,000 to $1,200 per day reading mail that he had no need to. 90% of the correspondence was for matters that he was not working on or was not qualified to work on. He was a commercial lawyer reading correspondence on criminal, family law matters. He once charged for his time reading a letter attaching a check which was a fundraising donation to be sent to the family of the deceased. Edit, wow, my karma just doubled overnight. To those who asked why I didn't report it, I did, to company management. I lost my job shortly thereafter due to apparently not needing as many staff. They were hiring new staff a month later. It was the second job I mysteriously lost after approaching management about incorrect, illegal procedures being followed. I saw another staff member fired after complaining about sexual harassment from a partner who was the office bullying and harassment contact. I believe she got a nice handout to go away and not make trouble.
As a dentist who does disability exams for veterans, I wish I could bill for my time. I'm an extremely busy doc, but I do these because I'm the only doc in my state that does. The VA absolutely hates when I confirm that a vet's injuries are service-related and they fight me non-stop. I have some cases that I've spent more than 20 hours writing and defending, but the VA keeps returning them asking me to make changes which I refuse. My compensation for this is $0, I just keep doing it to try to keep the VA from effing these guys over. I've really learned to hate the VA, now I see why so many vets have problems with them.
I used to work for Lowe's in the contact center, not the store. Absolutely no one knows where your package is. What you see on the tracking info you're given is what we see. You've been waiting 7 months for your refrigerator. That sucks. Hopefully it'll get there eventually. We don't know if the inventory reflected to us is correct or not. Policy is, if it says it's in stock, we tell you it's in stock, despite the fact that there's a good chance it's not in stock. Item not coming fast enough. Want a refund? I'll submit the request for you, but it might be a month before you hear back. Lowe's doesn't give a F about you or your order, which might be obvious. But what might not be obvious is that absolutely effing no one in that company has any clue what's going on at any given time. Everything is run completely on guesses. Not even best guesses. Oftentimes just wild guesses.
Booking.com, link. Edit. This blew up. Just so you guys know, they are not only scummy with the customers. The reason that made me leave the company was one day when I saw HR scolding one of my colleagues in front of the whole team for not coming to the office 2 days prior. The reason my friend didn't come to the office was because his son had a serious medical condition and my friend had to rush him to an ER, but apparently this reason was not good enough for booking. They treat their employees like poo.
The owner's effing the secretary's husband is effing the secretary's sister, the owner's wife is effing the third shift supervisor, and HR is effing the second shift die setter and smoking meth out in the weird little gap between the loading dock and the maintenance building. I know this because I used to F the secretary until I found out she had a husband and was effing the owner and me. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers.
The sex toy shop that I worked at sold massages from topless women. They gave more than massages if the customer asked.
This sounds awful. What is the address?
Brake pads are free after the first purchase. This shouldn't be a secret, but apparently it is for most people. I managed an AutoZone for 4 years. I noticed the brake pads have a lifetime warranty. Most people think that means if the brake pads have a problem then they can get a new set. They don't however realize that includes normal wear. It's lifetime of the vehicle, not the pads themselves. So when your brake pads wear out you can just come trade them in for new ones at no cost for as long as you own that vehicle, or really any vehicle that takes that specific part number if you're sly enough. It's more or less a loss leader for the company to get people in the door. And most don't realize it and pay for new pads every time there's wear out and don't mention the warranty or bring old ones to trade in or get their money back. If you don't mention the warranty we don't look it up because we're usually too busy or most employees too new to even know it was a thing. Also, my district and regional bosses once told us in a meeting we had up to $150 per customer we could use to help them out to create a good experience to keep people coming back. Most employees won't do it because they're corporate booklickers, but you could get that battery for free if the manager knows they're allowed to help people in a bind out up to $150.
Martha Stewart hates doing TV and she has a mouth like a truck driver. She is also way nicer in person than her reputation would indicate.
Tobacco companies would deliberately leave packs of cigarettes exposed at liquor stores where kids could steal them because a pack stolen is a pack sold. They'll be back soon to buy a pack.
Not just liquor stores, gas stations and convenience stores too. I worked at a convenience store in high school and there were cigarette displays right on the counter. They were constantly being stolen from. I asked the owner why we didn't just keep all the cigarette packs behind the counter, and he told me the sales reps put them there to make it easier for underage kids to steal smokes.
I worked at Abercrombie & Fitch in 2008. I don't even know where to start. Sales associates were called models, and you had to be recruited to work there. There was a look policy and a bunch of books for managers to look at pictures of people who had the Abercrombie look. This was a bizarre guideline for managers to recruit by. Managers basically got promoted based on their ability to recruit attractive employees. Associates who were not as attractive could work in the back and be part of the impact team. Every few months or so, the top 5 attractive girls and the top 5 attractive guys would get together for a cast of photo. I have no clue what the point of this was, but it got sent to corporate A and F. I remember a lot of hurt feelings around this because many people wouldn't be asked to be in it. The store did not sell any black clothing at that time. Associates could not wear eye makeup, lipstick, blush, or nail polish. If you had any of these on, a manager could send you home or ask you to take it off in the back. The cologne sprayed out of machines in the ceilings, and we would also go around and spray the clothes every few hours. Everything needed to be folded to perfection, and the message I got was that making the store look nice came before customer service. The previous CEO has been gone for a long time and it's totally different now. They rebranded to be more like H&M or other fast fashion chains. I don't think a store could survive like that in 2022. Some of the practices were so controversial.
I applied there as a teenager and wore a black sweater to the group interview. They told me almost immediately that nobody cool wears black and I needed to leave. I was like 16 and that made me really sad for a few days. F that place.
I'm a software engineer. I've hopped around a lot. After seeing many different production code environments, I'm convinced that the software in our society is just a massive house of cards waiting for disaster.
I worked at a company selling beauty and health products and I'm in charge of their finances. From product to packaging it cost us $13 to make, we sell one for $200 and people bought them like crazy. We went from making thousands to making millions per month. However, making that much money in a short amount of time is what eventually kills the company.
The boss was not in China getting new factories set up. He was in prison for tax evasion.
2 co-workers used the lactation room to have sex and they were caught when a new mother was trying to get in, but they were keeping the door closed so she had to get security. They both kept their jobs.
Panera soups and mac and cheese are frozen. Soup not used that day gets bagged and stored in the cooler for next day use. Usually the next morning the soup is still warm as the night staff didn't cool it properly. Most of the sweets in the bakery case are frozen, not made fresh. Most Paneras would not pass an unannounced health inspection. They are usually tipped off that the health inspector is in the area. Sanitizing buckets that are supposed to be changed every 2 hours are usually not changed all day. Source: worked for Panera for 12 years. This was before the worker shortage. How do you think things are now? Edit. Forgot one lol. The proofer the bakers use to proof the bagels and bread is usually never clean and is usually contaminated with black mold.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.